What's up guys, it's Scoopman 5000. Today we're doing another action figure review, looking at the third and final figure from this McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse wave, and that is, of all things, the Teen Titans cartoon Cyborg. And I say that because this is a show that, while it's appreciated by many fans, is kind of forgotten about in terms of merchandising and things like that, but McFarlane just doing things that nobody else is, giving us figures that DC Collectibles and a lot of other companies never really gave us of the classic 2000s animated Cyborg. And even Cyborg, he's someone that we still need like a classic version of to go with the Justice League. And they're starting a whole new team here, and I hope they continue with it because they never finished the DC animated universe. So now jumping into a whole nother property with Cyborg kind of makes me a little nervous. But nonetheless, nice big window. You see everything you're going to get. On one side it says Cyborg with the window. On the other it says Cyborg Teen Titans. And then on the back you get a nice image of him from the show, or at least a promo picture. You get the DC metal and the Azrael figure on the bottom, and then here you can see the barcode. But with that out of the way, let's get to it and bust out Cyborg. And at this point, we've done a whole bunch of DC Multiverse on this channel, so you know the deal. We get the figure stand with the DC logo, and then we're left with the trading card, which is the same as the back of the box. You get a nice image, like a promotional image of that Teen Titans show. And then on the back, you can see this comes from Teen Titans 2003, and that's a long time ago. I did not realize how old this show is. And his bio reads, half robot, Vic Stone is a high-tech genius and valued member of Robin's Teen Titans team. Cyborg not only designs and engineers T-vehicles and excels at video games, he's also a great cook, specializing in spaghetti and burgers. So there's your little bio for Cyborg, and we're going to add this card to the stack of DC Multiverse trading cards. And that leaves us with Cyborg, but before we get into him, we have a little special seg. This is a viewer spotlight segment, whatever you call it. On the Joker video, someone actually asked to see a head swap between the Joker that we looked at, the Rebirth Joker, and the White Knight figures. So, I didn't have the White Knight figure a couple days ago, but what was I doing in Target? Shopping for toys, and there was that Joker sitting on the shelf. So I went ahead, picked him up, and popping the head off the Rebirth Joker, the neck peg actually was stuck in there, and I really fought it, but I couldn't get it out. But what we'll do here, just for the effect, here's the White Knight head, and we'll just kind of sit it right there, and you can get the idea of how he's going to look on that body. If you sit it like that, he's got no neck, but obviously, if you get yours, heat it up maybe. I've seen this done online, so the head swap's definitely possible. But there's your look. But getting into Cyborg, he comes with one accessory, and that's this kind of laser beam arm cannon idea. And what you do is actually pop off one of the hands, and then you can attach this laser beam. And the piece itself is nice translucent plastic, some blasting effects coming out the front, some little techie details going on here. You can actually see like the fist. That is the same as the glove here. So overall, this is a nice accessory. Always nice to get little add-on pieces. And then that leaves us with Cyborg. And I don't know what happened because I saw the prototypes for this guy so long ago and I wasn't like that excited for it. But actually a pretty mind-blowing figure once you get him in hand. My only complaints are going to come in when we get to articulation, but we're not there yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at him aesthetically. And so McFarlane's done a decent enough job translating the DC animated universe into plastic, but I think they really nailed it here with the look of that cartoon. Maybe the face is a little bit off, but overall I think that Teen Titans show maybe translates a bit better into McFarlane's style. Looking at the head sculpt here, he's got a little smirk action going on, and really cool what you'll notice all over the figure is that the blue parts are translucent, underneath is some white sculpt. So this is like the robot part of his head. I don't know if you could really even see it that well, but it's a white sculpt of like a brain robot texture underneath, and then you get this translucent blue plastic going over it. So that's for his half Cyborg face. You see the chin strap, everything like that. And then there's the Vic Stone side, looking good, looking straight out of the cartoon. And you can see that same translucent blue on top of the shoulders. You get these kind of silver vents coming out the sides, but really awesome sculpt underneath. When you look at his artwork, they really could have just done this in blue plastic and then painted a darker blue over it. But the route that they took is very detail oriented, and a figure that really could have been so simple ends up being really awesome, really well sculpted. But that's really the most detail you're going to get is these sculpted parts for all the robotic tech on his shoulders, on his gauntlets here, and then a bit on the legs. But not to skip around, you can see his torso, really beefy upper torso, not quite as top heavy as those DCAU figures, but still very top heavy of a design. And looking at this really just makes me want to go back and watch that Teen Titans cartoon, because of the shows I've gone back and rewatched, that's not one of them. I really haven't seen this since my youth, so having this figure really does make me want to go back. I have DC Universe, I'll maybe put on some Teen Titans, but you could see nice silver details on the chest here, and then it's all white over here, and the white isn't that clean, but it does its job. You know, you put it up against these lights, it's going to look bright and white, and it's still going to stick out plenty against most of your DC Multiverse figures. The middle torso here is black, and you get some silver going on. That's the same for the crotch piece. Not rubbery like most of them are. This is a solid plastic. Almost what looks like metal hands with some white fingerless gloves or something going on. And then this whole boot design going up the leg in white, you get these silver knee pads, and then some big ass treaded shoes on the bottom of them. But in terms of the design, that's about it. Again, it's going to be a little bit simpler just because this is a Teen Titans animated figure. Also on the back, I'm seeing a lot of weird colors and stuff like that, but stuff on the back of figures usually doesn't bother me. But anyway, like I said, a simple design, but they added a lot of details that they didn't have to. Especially, I really love the sculpts with the translucent plastic. I know putting translucent on a lot of things is going to attract certain collectors, so very cool that they included it here. Now, to go over his articulation, I will say it's a little bit frustrating. It's fine, and it's good for a character of this size. McFarlane's been tackling a lot of large characters, and while this articulation isn't as good as Devastator, I'd say it's probably better than that Azrael White Knight. It's better than a few of their figures so far, but it's not the best. But this figure entirely does feel like something experimental, and obviously it's the beginning of that Teen Titans anime style cartoon, so there's going to be some weird things going on. This is their first try at this style. So with that, the head's got the double ball going on, but it's not really usable. You can't really go up very much. And you go down a little bit, I guess, and there is some tilt. But you really could have maybe benefited from a neck hinge here, but I guess that's something they don't really do. The torso's on the usual double ball joint. That's getting good range. It's going back pretty far. Forward is decent, I guess. And then it's got the tilt. Now, the shoulders are the biggest issue for me. So this one seems especially loose. What happens here, it's like a ratcheted peg that's in here. You could see kind of the indent in that peg. So what you can do is actually push the shoulder in. But you see, mine's just loose. I could try around with it, push it in a bit more. See, it's kind of snaps in there, and now it's going to act fine, I guess. But then see, there's like a resistance when you play with the shoulder. So this one's kind of weird. This one is better on the other side. I'm almost tempted to pick up another Cyborg because I actually saw one of these on the store shelves. And I'm tempted to almost pick another one up and see if it's just my issue. But this shoulder definitely feels a little weird. And then the elbows are single jointed. They're really tight on this. I didn't heat this figure up, so I'm going to hold this. But you can hear the snap there. The really tight single jointed elbow. It really only goes less than 90, so that's not great. And then he's got McFarlane ball joints at his wrist. Goes up and down, does all that business, but not the best. He's going to split just about all the way. He can kick back, not very much because of the trunks sculpt. Kicks forward about that much. He does at least have a decent enough double jointed knee. And then those same McFarlane balls at the foot. And there is a nice big toe hinge here. And I will say also, getting him to stand, despite his weight and what you would think, it's a little bit more difficult than you'd imagine. But nonetheless, we got it. And overall, that's going to do it for Cyborg. So now let's get to my favorite part, and let's do some comparisons. So first, we'll bring in the figures from this wave so far. We got the Rebirth Flash and Rebirth Joker. I think this is definitely a crowd pleaser wave. There's no Batman figure in it. And the Joker and the Flash are classic comic book versions. They're Rebirth, but they're still pretty classic looking. They're iconic versions of the characters that are essential if you just want iconic, simplistic looking versions of those characters. And then you get Cyborg, who comes from that Teen Titans show that's really a cult classic and doesn't get a lot of merchandise. But this does scare me a bit because they never really finished anything with that DC animated universe. There's only 3 figures from that line, and now we're already getting into a separate animated show. For the heights here, maybe Cyborg should be a little bit bigger, but again, it's that cartoon, so I don't even understand how that cartoon would scale with the rest of the line. So I think as long as the other cartoon figures, if we're getting more Teen Titans, as long as he's bigger than them, the scale really isn't an issue. And here he is with those Justice League DCAU figures. We got the Green Lantern and Superman. And I was going to display him with these guys for now, but honestly, looking at it here, the styles are really different. So I don't know if that's what's going to end up happening. But on your displays for now, there really is nowhere else for this Cyborg to go. You can see he's a little bit taller than them, but not by much. So again, as long as those cartoon Teen Titans that we should get eventually, like Starfire, Raven, Robin, Beast Boy, Terra, whatever, as long as they fit in with this Cyborg, there really isn't that much of an issue in terms of scale. And then for some comic book style figures, here he is with the Detective Comics 1000 Batman and his fellow Teen Titans member, Dick Grayson Nightwing. And then here he is with the Devastator, who is much bigger than this Cyborg appropriately. And then we got the Murder Machine, and seeing this Cyborg and the Murder Machine next to each other, that's about the farthest corners of Cyborg that you could get, and we've already got those 2 extremes. But again, it's just weird choices by McFarlane, because maybe we should have got like a Rebirth one in this wave instead of this one starting out this team. but I guess it does create more anticipation of completing certain teams. So long as these figures come out eventually and we can complete these lineups, it really isn't much of an issue. And overall, that's going to do it for Cyborg. And overall, I think it's 3 for 3 for this wave. It's 3 pretty exciting releases, and this one really builds anticipation of getting those other classic cartoon Teen Titans. Because again, they're figures that we don't really have. There might have been toys that were out when the show was popular, but in terms of collector figures, there really isn't much. So very welcome setup here by McFarlane giving us this Cyborg, and let's just hope they continue on and give us the rest of the characters. But that is going to bring this wave of DC Multiverse to an end, and I just looked at the Dark Knight's Metal wave, so if you missed that, you can go check it out. And then coming up very soon should be the other Dark Knight's Metal wave, which is the Merciless Build-A-Figure. That wave, of course, has the Metal Batman, the Infected Superman, the Batman Who Laughs, and then also the Crow Robins. And then, of course, that's going to build the Merciless. So if you were upset there's no Batman in this wave, there's 3 in the next one. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see what else we get from McFarlane. If you like that and other action figure reviews, you know where to stay right here on this channel. I'm going to be posting figure photography at the end of this video, and you can see more of that at Instagram, scoopman_5000. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.